Biloxi blues, it happens every night. And I ain't never met a riverboat dealer that could ever be a friend of mine.
I have not.
The summer heat never treats me kind, it leaves trouble on my mind. So I'm bidding farewell, putting in my notice, and I'll see you at another time. This highway does not know my name, and I don't care, no, I don't care. Headed my way for another place, and I got 3 good tires and a spare.
Listen to it.
Just a white line gypsy getting out of Mississippi with just enough gas to get there.
Well, hello there. LBL people. We need a cool name for the people that like this show, but I don't know what that is. When you hear this, it'll be Happy Monday to you. Hope you're doing all right out there. Low Budget Live, Not So Live from the Low Budget Live Bar and Grill here in lovely, cold freaking Tennessee this morning. And lots going on. It's going to be a busy day today. It's going to be a busy week. It's going to be a good week. This is going to be a good show. There's lots of things moving and shaking in this old bass fishing world, and we got the right people to talk to about it today. But right here in the old LBL Bar and Grill, and that song that you hear at the first, if you're new to Low Budget Live, is by myself. All by myself. I wrote that. Luke Duncan, Biloxi Blues. Get a lot of questions about that. So you can find that on iTunes and all that good stuff. iTunes, Spotify, wherever you stream your music. Don't pay artists enough. Was that a country musician thing to say? All right. So here we go. January 20th. It's actually tomorrow, but we're recording today on the 19th. Lots going on. Last night, I spent my hard-earned money on the Conor McGregor fight. I did. I did that, and my man he said 40 seconds was enough for him, and I was like, all right. I was ready to go to bed anyways. So did that. I don't ever do the UFC stuff. Don't ever watch it, but I'm fascinated by that dude and Cowboy. I like that guy. I've heard him on Joe Rogan a few times. I was like, I want to watch that. Stayed up, was like doing the old man nod on the couch, just trying to stay awake. 40 seconds, and I'm like, bed. Here's my $80, whatever in the hell it could cost me. I don't even know. But it was cool. He beat the heck out of some dude with his shoulder. I mean, that takes a real man. I don't think I could do that. January 20th, very special day in the Duncan household. Very special day. And I got to kick this off by saying happy birthday to my main man, Chuck D, my main man, Hugh Lorenzo, my main man, Charlie freaking Brewer, my now 16-year-old son, and man, he's going to be hell on wheels. This is crazy. The triple threat, just having a hard time with it, and I'm just like, let the boy go, let him do his thing, because man, I remember being 16. And it's just like the whole world opens up to you. Get thrown them keys and you're like, see ya. Get your first job. You get to, go pick a chick up for the first time if you're lucky. Ride around with all your buddies. I had my dad, fortunately enough for me, he bought me a Suburban. And I know what you're thinking, dang, you little rich, spoiled brat. No, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like sitting on 22s or anything. It was like a 1990, it was a 93 or 94 Suburban. But my dad works in the waste connections world, the waste management world. He working on landfills and selling garbage services. Kind of what he's always done my whole life. And this truck had been on one of their landfills, and he bought it for like probably $7 and a hug. Who knows? Who knows? I was proud to have it, but dude, it was beat all the crap. Had 300,000 miles on it, dude. Listen to me when I say I thought I might as well have been just in one of them rap videos. Just couldn't turn on the air conditioner. It said, bah! When you did that, if you were trying to get you some McDonald's, you had to turn the air conditioner off in the summertime. Bah! So it sounded like every time you turned on the air conditioner or the heat, it did that the whole time I had it. Insanity, man. I was proud to have it, though. And that 3 rows of seats, I mean, just thinking that you're going to stack up every girl in Lawrence County, Tennessee in that thing, but it ended up just being me and my redneck buddies more than not. But 3 rows, I put me a 8-disc changer under the seat. Thought I was something else. So happy birthday to my man Charlie. He got him about a 20-year-old vehicle. He got him a Jeep Wrangler, and he's going to need him some Startrons, all I got to say. Luckily, we got some in the garage. Low Budget Live brought to you by Startron for all your birthday Jeep needs. Let's see how easy that was. Ding! Also for your weed eater, also for your chainsaw. Get you some Startron. Supporting Low Budget Live, Not So Live. Everything in the LBL Luke Duncan world. Startron right there. Get you some. Happy birthday, Charlie. Pretty excited about that for him, man. He's a good kid, and it's gonna be a little different. It's gonna be a little different watching him drive out the driveway. I'm always like, hey man, I need to go to practice. Hey, I gotta go here. He's a super active kid, but proud of him for sure. 16th birthdays are special. Moving on, we got this little thing called the Fat Ass Challenge going, and man, you guys. After the last podcast, I got flooded with even more messages, videos, pictures, more people wanting in. I'm cutting it off after this episode. I'm cutting it off, man. It's not fair to the folks that have been doing it, but I guess it's not fair to you because it's a weight loss thing. As far as pounds, I mean, it's a weight loss thing. So if you're just now getting in it, you might not have as much time. We're going to end this March 6th during the Bassmaster Classic and down in Birmingham. But, and I apologize, I hadn't got to all the messages yet. I hadn't got to all the emails. I just got a lot of those and trying to get to them all, but I'm going to add y'all to the deal. And thank y'all for playing along with this, and let's get healthy. I'm the last dude on planet Earth that needs to be just out here giving weight loss advice, But I can tell you that I'm down about 10, 11 pounds already. And man, I've been trying to work hard. I've been doing a lot of cardio. Been doing a lot of cardio stuff and just eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. I've been for like 9 days. There was a diet a few years ago that changed my life for several years that I did, and it was called the Fat Smash Diet by Dr. Ian Smith, and it really makes sense. Everything about it to me made sense, and for like the first 9 days, you cut out fruits and vegetables. Excuse me. For the first 9 days, you only eat fruits and vegetables. You can have yogurt, egg whites, and brown rice for 9 days, and it's a detox for 9 days. And I did that, and man, I lost 46 pounds. 46 pounds. Of course, 12 years ago. It was the year Hudson was born, and man. It changed my perspective on everything, but it's all about portion control. But it's not crazy like, all you can eat is meat. And then the second you stop, or you can't have bread forever. It's realistic, and it's built around real life, just cutting down. Hey, man, you want to get a steak instead of getting a 12-ounce, get an 8-ounce. Just don't eat all your French fries. When you start feeling full, stop eating. It was a really cool book, and you can download it for free online now. I bought it in the bookstore back then, but and I use kind of those principles anytime that I want to try to lose weight. I still kind of lean towards that. When you throw it out there on the internet, I find that everybody's got an opinion about how you should be losing weight. Every dang body. You can't eat bananas. banana's got sugar. Here, have this Startron. You're eating salad? Salad's terrible for you. Have a burger. You're like, what? None of this makes sense. All you got to do is lift weights and run on a treadmill 47 miles a day, and you can have what you want. People are nuts when it comes to diets, man. But I know what works for me and my body. And it's kind of what I've been sticking to, but down a little bit already. And it's always good to see. I'll say this to all you fat assers out there that were challenging with me. This is something that I learned in that fat smash diet a long time ago. He broke it down into segments. And or phases, I think. Maybe it's phases. But at the end of each phase, he would say, do not weigh in the middle of a phase, weigh at the end. So if you set yourself a goal like weigh weekly, don't weigh every day because your weight fluctuates and it'll frustrate you. If you start losing weight, this is me talking, okay? This is my advice right after I talk about people giving you advice. But this would be my advice. If you're trying to lose weight, weighing every day is toxic because your weight will fluctuate depending on what time of day you weigh. I think you need to weigh first thing in the morning when you're empty. If you know what I'm saying. You get that morning little doo-doo in, get it in and then go weigh before you eat breakfast. But I would weigh, like, my deal is always like weigh at the end of a week. Weigh, go week to week to week to week to week. Set you some deals in there, like, hey, man, I'm going to weigh every 5 days. Because I think if you step on the scales and you're working hard and you step on the scales and you don't see a move at all, man, that's an instant just hit to your self-esteem. It is for me. I'm like, what? I've been doing all this? We had a birthday party last night. I avoided cake and delicious hot dogs and chili and all this stuff. I'm over here eating little veggies in the corner, avoiding all of it, with an IV of water in, just over sweating. And I avoided every bit of it. And you're working hard and you don't want to step on them scales and go, whoa, that was different than last week. You don't, or yesterday or whatever. You don't want to do that. So I say be careful with it. Just do what you're doing. Know you're doing the right thing. And know if you're changing your lifestyle at all, which I have tremendously, it's no secret. After Mom passed away, dude, I gained 30 pounds. And I was eating crazy. I was eating fast food 3 meals a day. Stupid stuff you should never do. My heart should have blown up probably at some point. Arteries clogging up, but was eating all this junk. So I have made a in the last 2 weeks, significant life change as far as just my diet and my exercise. I'm getting out, I'm running. I ain't going to the gym. I ain't lifting weights. I hadn't been doing that. That ain't me. I just want to get out. I just want to feel better. So I'm getting out. I'm setting me some goals, and that's what I've been doing. So hope you're doing it too. I hope that it's working for you. I'm proud that you're participating. And if you want to get in on it, man, play along at home. But for the actual prize, which I haven't got all put together yet, but we got 2 months of this, we're going to do it. So keep on, man. Keep on. Tag me up on Instagram when you're eating right. Had a couple this weekend. Tag me up. I'll try to share it, But thank y'all for supporting me and what I'm trying to do, man. I'd like to lose 40 pounds. I know I'm not going to do that in 60 days. I know that's unrealistic, but this year that was one of my goals. It was one of my goals last year that I was headed towards until my mom passed, and I used that like a crutch. But you go through things emotionally and you eat your feelings. I'm that dude. So thank y'all, man. It's pushing me. Even the old triple threat said she was proud of me. So I'm like, what's up, girl? Look at this right here. So I told her when I get back down to fighting shape, she's in trouble. She is in trouble. I am very excited about today in this podcast and what we're doing today on the podcast. This is a cool one because we just had the first major tournament of the year, and we're headed into another major one this week. And so all the off-season yammering, who's going where, Major League Fishing versus Bass, buying FLW, blah, 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 all this stuff. Now it's tournament time, right? So we can start diving into some of these goods, get you a little educational stuff on low budget, still get you a little bit of that news, a lot of that news, because there's going to be crap going on for sure in every organization. But this week, and it was weird, it was a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday event instead of a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but we had the first Bassmaster Open down in Florida, down at Toho. 225 freaking boats. It was packed out. I saw the pictures for those of you who have never been to Toho, Kissimmee, down there. You got to lock out of Toho. It's a chain of lakes, and you got to go through a lock. And, man, go over on Bassmaster.com, check out some of those pictures. But I have been in that personally several times, fishing tournaments, and there's nothing more chaotic than that freaking lock. It does not take many boats, maybe 15 boats, I think. But, dude, it's just steady stacked. People out there bumping boats, and it's wild. It's wild. It's the place where the infamous Keith Poche, Ish Monroe incident went down a few years ago, where they actually threw down. It actually happened. They actually had a little rumble on the lower end of Toho down there at the locks. And it gets wild. Boats get beat up, and it's crazy. So 225, I can't imagine. We fished 160 there last year, and it was wild. It was like a rodeo, man, going down there. But kicked off at Toho, the Kissimmee Chain of Lakes. Really cool place, big bass factory. It looked like it was a little off weight-wise, but some storylines out of there. You had big Scotty Too Hardy Martin. He's making that push to try to make the Classic, try to make the Elites. He made him a top 10 G-Main. Mr. Swindell. I like calling him that. Gerald ended up making a cut. Ended up like 7th place. My little buddy John Hunter was leading it going into the last day and had a really rough last day, and unfortunately he wasn't able to close it out. But then in this bass fishing world, I'm fortunate to be call a lot of these guys friends and really, really pull for a lot of these guys. And my man Bryan New ended up pulling off the W, and we're going to talk to Bryan this morning on his drive back, and I can't wait to talk to Bryan. He is a guy that I respect immensely in bass fishing. I've been knowing Bryan since 2015, I guess. So not terribly long, but he's a young man from North Carolina. And Bryan, I've talked about him on this before, on Low Budget Live, for sure. Bryan is a guy that started as a co-angler. Okay. He started as a co-angler on the FLW Tour, started as a co-angler in the BFLs, and has worked his way up truly through the ranks. He got one of the best lessons, I'm sure, and we'll talk to him about it, but he used to practice and travel with Bryan Thrift. So, man, he learned a lot from Bryan. But this guy, his skills as an angler, I fished against him as a co-angler in 2015, and he had won the Forest Wood Cup maybe the year before that. But he was just a threat for co-angler of the year. And then my rookie year, I actually drew Bryan on Kentucky Lake. And he's in the video, the infamous bush flipping video, tree flipping video from Kentucky Lake that a lot of you talk to me about when you see me. Bryan is actually the co-angler in the boat with me that was netting them so fast. And that day, he's like, hey, man, do you need a drink? Hey, do you need... Because he was the king of knowing if you were taken care of and you were fishing, you'd probably open up opportunities to him. Or we had a rule, if the pro's feet weren't on the front deck, the co-angler couldn't cast. So he was trying, dude, he'd have culling floats handing them to you. He'd be like, hey, man, I think it's number 3 that's got to go. He was a pro. He's just he's a pro, period. But, dude, he was pro. That year he won co-angler of the year. He qualifies for the tour. But what's interesting about Bryan is he's never gone full-on, full-time pro. He's done very well on the coast, makes the championship, catches them, makes some top 10s, made the tour pro circuit, whatever we're calling it now, this year, and didn't go. Signs up for the Opens, and I don't know if he signed up for all of them or not. We're going to find out from Bryan. But this guy has a resume just that most of us would kill for. And we're going to get him on the phone, and I want to talk to him about some of this stuff, and I want to talk to him about this big win, man. It's impressive to me that a guy goes in. He made the freaking Bassmaster Classic, okay? But last year he won. He went to the BFL All-American. He finished third there, okay? This was just last year. The ABA Race Scott Championship, which won him $50,000 and a boat down at Lake Eufaula in April, won it. Okay, then he goes to the BFL Regional in the fall down at Lake Seminole, wins it. Not only wins it, dominates it to send him back to the All-American. Fast forward to that's in October. Go to January, wins the first major tournament of the year, Bassmaster Open, sending him to the Classic. I mean, this dude, nobody wants to fish against right now. I'm telling you, he is something freaking else. So let's get him on the phone right now. See if we can get him. He said he was going to be ready. He said he's going to be ready. Oh, no, Bryan. Don't leave us hanging. He said on the Bassmaster stage that he had to pee. And he's driving home today. So I'm going to bet.
Luke Duncan.
What's up, buddy?
I am checking out at the gas station.
Yes, that is the most low-budget live thing ever, and I love it.
Oh, yeah. The life of a traveling man.
The life of a traveling man, the life of a man that's just carrying around a lot of cash in that old truck right now. Trophies and cash.
Trophies and cash and a lot of everything else. Guns and fishing rods. It's been an eventful trip, my man.
Well, no doubt about it. I said whenever it took a few rings for you to answer, and I said, you know what? My man said on the Bassmaster stage, the winning moment, he said he had to pee. And I'm like, I bet he had to pee right now. He had to get out and pee, and we caught him in a pee break.
Well, you know what? You're pretty dang close. I actually did pee. I fixed to crank my truck up so my Bluetooth's going to hook.
All right.
So,
all right. We'll be patient.
Still got you for a second.
I got you.
Take a second. But yeah, man.
Headed back north. I've been good, buddy. Not as good as you, I don't think. I don't think anybody in the fishing world is as good as Bryan New in the last year. You having yourself a time right now.
Yes, I got you now.
Heck yes. Bryan New live from the truck.
That's right.
The truck phone.
But,
How you so dude, I mean, you just last year I've talked about you on here multiple times just because I feel like people should know Bryan New. They better know Bryan New. And I know you're a humble guy, and you're not about all that attention necessarily. But dude, I was talking before I called. I've known you since 2015. It's probably the first time I ever met you. I knew of you before then, but I got to know you that year fishing when I was fishing as a co-angler. And then we got to know each other even better my rookie year out there and got to spend a day on the boat together, which will always go down as one of my favorite days. We had a ball that day and caught them up, and it's all on video. It was a lot of fun. But dude, I've talked about your year last year. I said that you had, I think, the best year in professional bass fishing, or AAA, whatever people want to call it. But you had the best year. I mean, dude, and you've been on a roll, but this is kicking into 2020. It's like, what else can't Bryan do? Now you're going to the freaking Classic, dude.
Yeah, that's true, man. I've got a lot of stuff in between this and that. I've got some more opens, obviously, and some coasters, and I got the All-American again, so I'm looking forward to that.
And the All-American's in your backyard, right? Kinda, sorta?
Sorta. I mean, it's on hardwood. It's only like 2 hours from me, but like I really don't fish there a lot. Honestly, as bad as it sounds, I hate that lake.
Yeah, I get it.
I don't. It's sometimes there's just a lake that you just don't get, and Lake Hartwell is a lake that I don't get. I did good there as a co-angler back in the day, but that's a different ball.
Different deal.
So you can't, you just wipe that clean. That don't even exist. so to speak, when you get up in the front.
Do you think is it the blueback herring that kind of get to you? Because they get to me. Because I try to fish it like I fish everywhere else, and it ends up being a disaster.
I think it's a mixture of that because the last few years I've started fishing some BFLs and ABAs down on the South Carolina lakes with a lot of bluebacks, and I'm starting to learn a thing or two about it. I fished a BFL 2-day at Hartwell last year, and I learned a lot about that deal. Now, of course, that's a fall blueback deal, but yeah. I don't know, but I kind of feel like that it kind of can relate to the early in the year, herring spawn. I think it can relate to it a little. That's my theory.
Okay.
I could be completely wrong. I probably am completely wrong, but that's my theory, and I'm going to roll with it for now. But, that and Hartwell's so big. There's so many options there, and I want to do a little bit of everything and see a little bit of everything when I go to a lake. And I think that's one thing that gets me on Hartwell. So I think I've got a different, I think I'm going to take a different approach to that tournament than I always have down there. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, I think you're the favorite to win it right now, obviously, for sure.
I don't think so.
Jamie's in it. Yeah, sorry, buddy. I love you, Bryan. I love you, Bryan New, but yeah, Jamie's in it. For those of you that don't know Jamie Rampy, he's another one of these guys that flies under the radar that catches every bass in Lake Hartwell every day.
I think he fished 49 tournaments on Hartwell last year. He won 72 of them.
Exactly right. Exactly right. So, dude, what are your plans this year? Are you fishing? Obviously, you're going to fish all that division of the opens. Are you fishing all 8 opens?
Originally I wasn't thinking so, just because it's such a big investment.
No doubt.
I actually called Chris Bowes at Bass right after, on my way to JT's after the weigh-in the other night, and talked to him about it. I'm considering trying to get in the Centrals, or I think that's what they're calling them.
I think they're the Centrals now.
I'm considering it. I'm not saying I'm going to. I'm not saying I'm not, but I'm definitely considering it. When I get home, I've got a lot of stuff I've got to do to get caught back up. But I'm going to look at it, and I'm going to try to decide if it's a good decision for me to do it or not.
Well, dude, I mean, is your end game with this? I mean, you're a guy, and I think I've talked about this on here before, but I want folks to hear it from you. I've always respected about you. One of the things I respect about you the most, and you and I have had a lot of conversations about this, is, dude, you can catch them, and I'll do all the promoting for you. You don't have to promote yourself at all. You can sit there and grin, but you can freaking catch them. You've proven it over and over and over. Various levels of competition. There's no doubt you're going to catch the crap out of them at a tour level or the Elite Series or whatever that comes down to for you. But you're smart in that you're like, look, man, you were one of the first guys that ever said this in my boat that it made sense to me. You're like, because that day you're with me, you're going to win Co-Angler of the Year most likely. I'm like, dude, are you coming over? And I was fortunate to have sponsors, right? I mean, you and I have talked about this many times. And you're like, dude, it's going to cost me $70,000 to do this next year out of my pocket. That's not a smart financial decision.
No.
And so does that still weigh on your mind? Or are you I mean, is your goal to make the Elite Series?
It is. I mean, everybody knows all these changes are going on.
No doubt.
I don't know what I think. I really don't know what I think about all of them. One day I like this, the next day I'm like, well, I don't like it. So honestly, I signed up for the Opens to have options.
Right.
I always said that if I ever, I made enough money fishing a couple times to pay for it and not have to pay for it out of my pocket, so to speak, for money that I had to go manually work my butt off for at an hourly wage.
Right.
I said, if I ever make enough money again fishing to do it, I'm going to. So last year was just a freaking awesome year. Well, after I won the race con deal, I'm all in. I'm fishing the tour. I qualified. then all this stuff goes down. I decided not to, for several reasons. But so I said, well, I'm going to just keep doing this and see where it goes. So now I start off like this. If I get the opportunity, by God, I'm going.
Dude, I hope so, man. And I feel like if you fish both divisions, man, I feel like you're going to have as good a chance as anybody. And it's odd for us because I would consider you an FLW guy, right? I mean, you and I both kind of cut our teeth the same way a little bit. You were doing a little longer than me, but you're a BFL guy, you're a Costa guy, you're an FLW guy, and so I'm proud that you're dipping your toes over there because that was your first Bassmaster event, right? As far as an open.
It is first bass event ever, except for back in the day when ABA was affiliated with them as well.
Right, the weekend series stuff, yeah.
Right. Yeah, but yeah, so like you said, I mean, I've always been FLW. I liked it there, and, I hope I still do. Nothing up against anybody there, but, both sides can be great. You don't have to pick sides. I'm not picking sides. I'm just going to pick
what's best for you.
What's best for me.
Absolutely. Do you think...
And right now, I don't know what that is.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you like that MLF format? Do you think Bryan New, are you a guy that gets a lot of bites? Would you excel at that format, or are you more of a 5 fish, run around, grind it out kind of guy? Because there's definitely two camps now,
Well, first off, I'll say absolutely I think there is a skill to that.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah.
But me, you, everybody that fishes bass tournaments, every one of us has spent our entire life trying to figure out how to catch the 5 biggest fish for 1, 2, 4 days.
Yep.
Tiger Woods is always trying to figure out how, I don't know nothing about golf, but
I don't either. He's trying to make birdies, I think.
Okay, yeah. So,
but the rules don't change, right? He's been trying to say the game has been the same for him his whole life, is what I think you're trying to say.
Yeah. So, do you think him and Phil Nicholson and all those guys, they want to go play putt-putt?
That's exactly right. I'm with you.
I'm not downplaying the every fish thing counts. I'm just saying it's a totally different game, and I don't know that game, so I don't want to do that.
Nah, that's me a little bit, man. I think there are guys that excel at it. I think Dudley will go over there and do really well this year. It's going to be interesting to see. And I think Thrifty will catch him up, man. You know him better than anybody. But I think there'll be challenges to that format for both of those guys never having been in it at times.
Yeah. I mean, it's you're still trying to catch a bass, but it's a different sport.
Well,
it's almost... I mean, it's even more different than a pro from a co-angler.
No doubt. Oh, yeah.
That's two different sports.
Two different sports, man. Two different sports. And for me, that success out of the back, it didn't necessarily translate. I'm good at finding fish. I can find them whatever. But, I caught them pretty good out of the back. And it's like, but you're fishing against the other co-anglers. You're fishing against the day, basically, trying to adapt behind a partner. It's a totally different deal. And I noticed that fishing with you that day, man. You were a king, and I talked about this before you came on, but you were a king at that game. Not only at catching bass, but at that format, hey, man, this is what I need to do behind this guy to make sure I catch the most weight I can catch. And I learned a lot from you in that situation. I thought, man, there's no doubt why this guy's the best co-angler, in my opinion, to ever live. I mean, he gets it done. And you're a great, at casting, at just trying different things. And we had a crazy day that day, man. I'll never forget that. As far as just that was truly, if I could make decisions like that and have them work out in every tournament, I would have been Angler of the Year every year. But as far as just pulling up, throwing everything to the side and saying, hey, man, this is what we're going to go do. And it working out, that decision that day, that'll always be one I'll never forget. Just it was a lot of fun, and you caught some fish, I caught some fish, and we had a good time together, man. But so let's get to this. Let's get to this big win, man. I know people I don't talk about a lot of the nuts and bolts and stuff on LBL a lot. I want to more and more, but kind of break down, man, your Toho win, because this is your chance. A lot of people listening to that want to learn. And how does Bryan do? He's never fished a Bassmaster event. How do you go down there? How do you beat 224 other guys and go to the Classic? How did that work out?
Well, you just kind of said it about the day with me and you. We were fishing offshore, and that kind of went all to crap. And you said, let's go flip a jig up shallow, and you called them. Well, the same thing for me. Like, I had a bad practice at first, and then the last few days I started getting some bites on pads. And, because that's a deal there. Everybody knows that.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, I felt like I've got a chance to do good. So I draw out. I'm boat 204. Obviously, if I'm going to semi, I've got to stop on Toho and fish something instead of sitting at the lock for 2 hours.
No doubt.
So I found one place that I caught one bass. You did some offshore grass during practice. That's the only thing that I had on Toho. And I said, well, I'll stop there. I ain't got nothing else. So I stopped there. It don't take long. I catch a 5.9.
Jeez.
Then I caught a 1.9. And then, an hour goes by or whatever. I go to the lock. I lock through. I pull up the first stretch of pads. I miss one. The next flip, I hook one. It gets hung in the pads, and it comes off. 4 hours later, I haven't had another bite.
Sitting on 2.
So, my wheels are spinning. I've got a really good one. I just need some more decent. My wheels are spinning. What do I got to do? I know that this deal is done, at least in this area. I've got to do something. So I said, it's hot, it's slick. I haven't thrown a top water all week, but this feels right. So I slid up a little bit shallower. I threw a prop bait, a greenfish tat. It's sort of like a devil's horse style bait, but it floats higher. It's a bad dude.
Shout out to John Hare over there, old Johnny boy.
Yes, sir. Good dude. He makes some good stuff.
He does.
But, so I immediately catch a 4-pounder on it. It was a 4+. I don't remember exactly, but a good one. So I said, here we go. I figured it out. An hour later, I still got no more bites. So I've got 2 good ones and a keeper. I said, well, I've got to do something different. So then I was thinking, this area, I know it's a good area. I had good bites here in practice. I just caught a 4-pounder a little bit ago. It's got the dog crap beat out of it. Maybe these fish pushed up under these mats. It's hot and it's slick and it's sun. I ain't flipped the mat all practice. So I get my rod box. I already got 15 rods on my deck. I get my rod box, get number 16 out. Flip that big weight in the mat. I go about, a couple boat lengths, and I catch another 1.9. So that gave me 4. I go a little bit longer. I catch another 4.5.
Jeez.
I'm pretty excited because I've got a decent bag. So I keep running that, and that was 2 bites pretty quick. So I was excited. I said, I'm going to catch another big one. Go a little bit farther, I catch a 1.8. It didn't help me. I run it, and it runs out. Not another bite.
Yeah.
So I said, well, I need to get to the lock. You have plenty of time. You never know what's going to go in there. So I get there, I lock through. I've got 45 minutes to fish. I'm back on Toho. I've got nothing but this one place that I have 1 bite in practice, and I had to call those 2 this morning. So I stop there. I catch a 4.5. I catch a couple real high ones that helped me at the time. I caught a 2.3 that helped me. Then I caught a 2.5 that went cold to 2.3. So, that gave me 21. So I get in. I'm all excited. I draw out. I'm both 22 the second day. Yosemite sucked, so I said, I'm going to start. I knew how tough it was, and I knew the potential of that spot. At least catching a limit,
Yeah.
And I caught 2 big ones on it and did fish it more than an hour and a half probably the first day. So I started there, and me and my co-angler, we immediately started jacking them.
I watched it. You want to go back and look at the photo gallery of that, guys, if you're listening to this. The pictures are awesome. They're just freaking, they're bowed up like crazy.
So we're catching them almost every cast. At 9:14, we're still catching them almost every cast.
Jeez.
At 9:15, we don't get another bite.
Dang.
I mean, it goes from every cast to nothing. I mean, it's almost like you caught every single fish there, but I knew better, just for one, because I've been fishing more than a day.
Right.
And two, I could still see them. And it was just unreal. But so about 45 minutes later, I finally catch another one. And then it's just, I'm fishing for a while longer and not another bite. So I weighed everything. I knew what I had. I knew I had the cut made. But I still was, I thought I was going to be a good ways behind. And so I really did. I knew I had to cut, like I said. So I didn't want to run down to Kissimmee just because, one, it was a waste of time. I had to be back at 3 o'clock. Well, not a waste of time, but it takes.
But it's a risk. I mean, it eats up a lot of time going through that lot.
Risk, right? And so I said, I'm not going to risk something happening and me not making the cut or getting the check. So I said, I'm going to stay up here, junk fish, and I'll just rotate from junking it up to this spot all day. And I'll eventually catch a big one here. Well, I rotated and rotated. I've never got another bite there the rest of the day. But I caught some on that prop bait up shallow again, and I caught up about half a pound.
Well, let me ask you this. Let me interrupt for just a second. You said on this spot, when you said you could still see them, so are we talking on a graph, or are these fish schooling, you think? What's going on this offshore grass spot that makes it an every cast hole? Is it, obviously there must be a lot of bait out there, something like that, but when you say you can still see them, are you seeing them on a graph?
Yeah, I've seen them on my graph.
I got you.
Yeah, but it honestly, every day there was several boats close to it, but they're like 75 yards from it. And honestly, I wasn't completely watching them, but you look.
Of course, yeah.
And every time that I was on that spot, all week long, I seen like 3 bass on.
Jeez.
And we were jacking on. So I don't know what it was. I mean, it was just little clumps of places, little small places now, but there was 3 or 4 places. And they were just there, man. Like, I don't know why they were there that much better than they were anywhere else, but it really don't matter.
Hey, I think we're back. It did something funky, and I'm trying to avoid it. All right, so you don't know why they were there, but they were there, buddy.
Yeah, I mean, that's what mattered. I mean, me and Bryan Thrift and Luke Clausen, we got in an argument one time several years ago.
Imagine that.
I don't remember exactly what it was about, but it was something like, why do they fight this, or why are they here instead of there? And we said it don't matter. Well, I wanted to know. I'll back up and I'll admit that I wanted to know. But Bryan and Luke both said it don't matter. They are. And you know what? They've got a point. It don't matter why they're there. You found them and they're biting. That's all that matters.
Dude, Gerald Swindle told me that one time. He said it ain't got to make sense because it's just got to work.
That's right. That is right.
But as bass fishermen, though, we do want to break it down from a fundamental standpoint. We want to dig deep. We want to go, well, this is why the square bill worked versus the chatterbait this time, or this is why they're in this grass versus that grass. But dude, sometimes they just there. They just there.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. I mean,
yeah. I get it. It just, and sometimes that meant to be thing, man. So take me into day 3. You're in 3rd place, right? Behind John Hunter, and I forget the guy that's name was in second, but my man John Hunter was leading and looked to be kind of the guy to beat because he was consistent. Looked like the conditions kind of tightened up, but leaving that third morning, you feel like you got a shot, right? Because you said, I watched the YouTube video the night before where they interviewed you guys. And you looked at the camera and said, we're going to go try to bust a dirty 30 tomorrow. I told my wife, I said, Bryan New's fixing to win this dang tournament. Because you just had that look in your eye, man, like you know what was going on.
Well, I knew at that point after that day, I figured out that I've got a special spot. And I knew how I knew how hard it was to get bit during the day. I knew was going to go to that spot, and more than likely I was going to catch a limit and probably have a decent limit. When I say decent, I mean like 12 pounds.
Right.
You know, everybody thinks Florida giant bags. Yes, it happens. But if you look at every tournament,
Ever.
99% of the tournaments, big tournaments that come to Florida that are more than one day, 12, 13 pounds a day, always get you bait.
Consistency wins over them big bags down there, always.
Yes. And then you look at the people that caught that giant, that 33-pound bag. Then look at their other day.
Yep.
I'm not going to say always, but most of the time they have a 8-pound bag.
That's right.
Or a 10-pound.
It's always about down there. It's about a home run day, and then limping in. It seems like
It's surviving.
Yep.
And I said that all week. I said, you know what? Day one, I said, you know, we got a lot of work left, but we're still alive. Day two, I slipped. I ain't gonna say I slipped up because I did everything I could do.
right.
But, I stayed alive with that pounds. And then the last day, so the wind, they were calling for 15 to 25. It's Florida. There's never been a big bag weighed in when the wind blows like that. So,
Nope.
I don't think it. I could be wrong. Somebody told me. I don't know that. But, so I knew that probably wasn't going to happen. And I knew in my mind that I was going to catch a decent limit to begin with. And then you had 12 boats on the lake. You took 215 boats off the water. A lot less pressure. You're going to be able to run around. You're going to be able to get where you want. You can't run around because of the wind. But I knew I was just going to be able to do what I want. And so I start on that place, and it goes down again. Well, this time I catch a 6-pounder.
Man.
And, I left there. I had like 14 and a half pounds. Awesome start. Best start I've had all week. And I get to the lock at 8:20. I get through the lock. I'm going out the door on the other side of the lock at 8:24. It blew my mind.
Oh, my gosh.
So I'm running down there. I'm in the canal. I'm rocking and rolling. I'm going like 70. And as soon as I come into Cypress, it's rocking, son. I back down to 20. So I'm not gonna beat myself and my co-angler and my boat and my fish to death and kill my fish. So I get to Kissimmee. I go to this little area where I knew great big ones come. And I go there and I fish and I fish and I fish and nothing. So, well, you know what? I said, I want to go just try it, just because I didn't come down here yesterday and try it. I'm going to go flip some pads. And now, the wind's blowing minimum 20. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Now, in my mind, I knew that pads wasn't going to be the deal with the wind like that, but I had to try something, and I know what those pads have potential on. So I go and I try it, and I do it like 15 minutes in this one area, and the wind's just rocking too hard. It was dang near impossible. That's why it'll be protected a little bit. And it was a little bit more protected, but it still sucked. So I immediately catch 2 real quick, but they didn't help me. Well, that suckered my buddy. So 2 hours later, and now fishing those pads is pretty easy when it's slick.
No doubt.
When that wind's blowing 20 and it's blowing so hard that you can't even position yourself to control a motor the way you need to, and you power pole down, and it just completely turns the boat the other direction.
Oh, yeah.
It was so hard to get position, and once you did get position, it's so hard to make the cast. Then when you make the cast, it's so hard to get the right presentation. So I wasted 2 hours doing that without another
Jeez.
So I go back to this other little offshore hydrilla place. It's in Kissimmee. It's a lot shallower than that place in Poa. But so I'm flying the chatterbait around, and I catch one, but it didn't help me. So I job around. messing around trying to find them. And I get back to that where I had that first one, and I called it. It was a 2.7. I called a 113, and that was the last bite I had.
That was it.
Well, I told let me back up. So the day's not over. So I told myself I want 2 hours on that place. And that's my day. That's my tournament. It's over after that. I don't have nothing else. The wind's blowing too hard. I said, I'm not going to, kill us in this freaking waves. It was bad, dude. It was bad out there.
And it takes a lot for those lakes to get torn up, really, honestly, because they're not that big necessarily. Well, Toho's a big bowl, but
yeah.
But I've seen it get rough. It rocks and rolls down there.
Yeah, even Cypress. Cypress is a little bitty thing. It's like a mile across it each way. It's a mile circle.
Yep.
But you got when I come out of the Hatch and Hall Canal to Cypress, man, I was running about 25, and I only had to go about a mile to get to the other canal, but it sucked. We got wet, buddy. I looked at my co-angler. I said, well, at least I got to take a shower to tide it.
Exactly. You drenched. Did
so
you? Go ahead.
Go ahead. All right. Well, we locked through. We go back to my spot, and I kind of get positioned, and I spot lock down because you couldn't really control the motor and stay where you needed to do. It was all you could do to stand up. So we get there, and for some reason, I don't know why, I don't know if other people were like this, but with a bait caster, if I have to jerk to my left, 99% of the time I'm going to miss that.
Yep.
With the spinning rod, if I have to jerk to my right, I think.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Miss that fish.
Yep.
With the way the wind was blowing, the way I had to make my cast and everything, I had to jerk to the left. I had one bite, and I jerked, and guess what I did? I missed it. So that was, I never got another bite. My co-angler, he caught two and called up. That was pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
So, it comes out, I did the math. I said we got about 7 miles to get back, running 21 miles, or 21 minutes. But I knew I could get there quicker than that, but that's what I was giving myself. So about 25 minutes, I said, let's go on back. And we just kind of field around right there at the ramp for a minute or two. That's the tournament. So I'm thinking, well, my first event, I made the top 12, had a good finish. Not going to win, but, I'm not going to lose no money. I'm going to put a little bit of money in my pocket. I got some good points towards, qualifying for the elites. Good start to the year. So we get in, put it on the trailer, get to talk to some people. I got one, I got two, I got about 8 pounds. This guy's got probably 12 pounds. I've got 10 pounds. John Hunter's, I got one bull crab in line. I looked in his live well, he's got one low venture. I was like, holy crap.
Then butterflies start, right?
Yeah. Everybody told me I won, and then after I talked to everybody, I said, I won. So, then I got to drive. It takes an hour and 15 minutes to drive 13 miles.
Oh, man.
And I had to be the whole time.
Because Orlando traffic sucks worse than anywhere on planet Earth other than maybe Atlanta.
Dude,
it's terrible down there.
I'm pretty sure it's worse than
Oh, it's awful.
Oh, so, awesome event, man. Awesome.
That's great. Well, what was funny was, Bass, unfortunately, their coverage on the Opens, it's the only thing that I give them a hard time about a lot is, I want to know what's going on during the day. You don't have Bass Track, and I know they got co-anglers and it's hard to keep up, but man, I want to know what Bryan New's out there doing. I want to know what Swindle's doing. I want videos. I want, and I'm refreshing it all day long to see what they're saying about my guys out there. And until you got in and you post on your Instagram story, you said, headed to the weigh-in. It's going to be interesting. Y'all need to watch it. And you winked at the camera. And I was like, I've been knowing Bryan New a long time. And if he's winking at the camera, my man's going to the Classic. I sent it to my buddy Darian. And I said, I said, go watch News Story. I said, this is what you do when you're fitting to go to the Classic. Well, dude, I'm unbelievably, dude. I'm so proud of you and for you. You work really, 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 really hard at this, and you're so freaking technical with your tackle and your equipment overall. And my question is, how much tackle are you going to buy with this? That's kind of a cheesy question, but dude, you're a tackle freaking nut. I've never met anybody that is other than Bryan Thrift that is as much of a tackle junkie as you are. And how much will be spent on new tackle?
I don't know, more than it should be. All right, so a quick funny story on that. So last year, after I won all that money last year, you win money like that, you got to spend money.
No doubt.
And plus it's an investment on top of that. That you got to spend money to make money, and it's no different in fishing. So, I've caught like 4 bass on spy bait in my life. Well, these northern tournaments, it seems like they always crush them on a spy bait.
They do, yeah.
And I'm funny, so whenever I get on a new bait, I don't know, okay, let's say the Whopper Plopper, when that come out. See, me and Thrift, we were going it 2 years before it got
That's a fact.
Well, I can't have a box with Whopper Ploppers and buzz baits and pop bars. I've got to have a buzz bait box and a pop bar box and a popper box.
Same here.
I've got a deep 3700 box can slap completely full of ploppers. Well, guess what? I've got a shallow 3700 box with small ploppers. So anyways, I go out and I said, I need to get some spy baits. Well, I wind up, I've got a complete slap full, can't fit another one in it, box of spy baits. And I've caught 4 bass on it. So, I think
hilarious.
It's safe to say I'm probably going to spend some money on some tackle.
Heck yeah, buddy. Well, I heard Thrifty say one time, he was talking to me in Gggggggiant, and he was talking about this crankbait, and he had ordered 9 of them on Tackle Warehouse. And we're like, why'd you order that many if you've never thrown it? He goes, well, what if they bite it? And I was like, okay, I guess I see that, but you spent $200 on crankbaits you've never had a bite on. Because he was like, I heard they bite this thing here. So I bought 9 of them, and I'm like, well, I would have bought 2. And then Gagliardi goes, that's why he kicks our ass all the time.
Yeah.
That amongst other reasons, but yeah, it cracked me up. Well, dude, listen, I'm proud for you, man. I can't wait to see how the rest of the freaking year goes. That schedule suits you a lot, and go get in them centrals, man. Show them what's up. I want to see Bryan New in the Elite Series. We're already going to see Bryan New in the Bassmaster Classic and the All-American this year. But let's go, dude. Go in this freaking Classic next year. Hey, by the way, low budget folks, he was going on a hog hunt with JT Kinney and old big boy Kyle Walters after he won. And Bryan and I were texting, and he said, man, you ought to come down here sometime. And I said, well, when you win the Classic, you're going to fly me down there on a hog hunt. And he said, well, if I win the Classic, we're going to do more than that. And I said, well, I'm saving this text right now. So I saved it, and I want it recorded right here, documented, that me and Bryan New, we're probably going to go around the world. He's going to buy me tackle. We're going to do all kind of stuff whenever he wins the Bassmaster Classic next year, buddy. Well, look, be safe going home. Congratulations, man. And I look forward to hearing from you real soon after you win another one of these suckers this year.
Oh, I like the sound of that, man.
Heck yes.
I really do. It's a dream roll. I mean, you can't, obviously you can't predict stuff like this, and you can't explain it. Everybody gives Thrift a lot of crap about saying I'm not catching them this and that. And I do as well, or have, but I get it now. I do get it. I'm not claiming to be anywhere. I'm not claiming to be half the fisherman he is. I'm not claiming to be anything. I'm blessed is what I am. I'm not anything but except for blessed.
I get it, buddy.
It's just the way things have went for the last year. They're just unbelievable. I made some changes in my life. and everything is just so much better. I'm not saying I don't have, anything else, that don't bug me or this or that, but it's just, I've never been as happy as I am right now, and it's not just because of the fishing.
You can tell, man. You can tell.
It's things are awesome, dude.
Well, I'm proud for you. For sure, buddy. Well, you be safe putting her on in the driveway in North Carolina, and go shine that trophy up.
Oh, we're gonna do that. I guess I might have to make some room, but I sure make some room.
Oh, you'll be able to make some room for that old Bassmaster trophy. I have no freaking doubt.
Yeah,
Y'all make sure you go follow Bryan New on his social media. It's Bryan New Fishing on Instagram. I'm sure he's got a Facebook page too. I'm not as good on Facebook as I am Instagram, but y'all go check it out. Bryan is he's one of those dudes, man, you need to be following, you need to be keeping up with. Bryan, I really appreciate you coming on, buddy.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you having me. It's been fun, and we're gonna have to do it again sometime.
Dang right. We're gonna go fishing too, I hope, soon.
Oh, absolutely.
Heck yeah.
We need to slide on up. We need to go to Lake Murray before it gets warm.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
That lake's stupid, dude.
I'm going to give you a holler outside the podcast about that, and we're going to go crack on some.
10-4.
All right, Bryan New. Ladies and gentlemen, your first Bassmaster winner of the year out there, Bryan New.
Oh, good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Thank you, buddy. Be safe going home.
All right, man. Talk soon.
Bryan New. That was fun. Had a little audio issue. I watch. I don't know what's going on with this stupid software. Hopefully, got most of that. Hopefully. Had to stop it right there in the middle and start all over. I had to pause in mid-thought, which was awkward, to say the least. But I saw the audio wasn't recording. So I don't know. We got another guest. The main event, after watching UFC last night, I think I'm that buffer guy. And this guy has sent me a text. I've been preoccupied over here, like always. This guy sent me a text that said, and I'm not laughing. I'm not laughing at the situation because it sounds very scary. But our guest today, our main event guest, and I'm just waiting on a text back, but our main event guest is the main event himself. He is the host of the wonderful fishing show, Facts of Fishing. He is the Bassmaster MC, and that's my man, Dave Mercer from Canada. And this is the most Canadian text I will ever get. He says, dealing with a mess at my house. A couple of kids went through the ice right in front of my place. They are okay, but we are working to help them out. Should still be good for the interview. So, let's see. Sorry, texting Dave. Texting with Dave. He's he's in a little bit of a crazy state today, I think, dealing with all this. But that's something you'll never get from a Southern guy. That's for dang sure. You will never hear, hey man, some kids fell through the ice in front of my house. I was going to delay the interview. So we got to get the scoop on this from Dave. Just waiting a second. I want to say once again, y'all, go follow Bryan New. This guy works really hard. He deserves everything in the sport of bass fishing that he gets, to say the very least. And it's good to see good people do well. It really is. And he deserves all the accolades he gets, and sponsors and hopefully followers, man. He's the real freaking deal. That's cliche. You can say that about a lot of folks, but he needs to be more widely known, to say the very least. To say the very, very least. We're going to pause 2 seconds here because I want to get this audio right for Mr. Mercer. Give me 2 seconds. You'll never even know anything happened right here. Low budget live. All right, here we go. Going to see if we can get the man, the myth, the Mercer. My man.
Low budget live.
Low budget live, not so live. And dude, I just talked about, before I got you on, I said, there are certain texts in life that you will receive from certain people that you know and you're buddies with. And then there are certain texts that you would never receive from certain people that you're buddies with. And I can say that 2 people have fallen through the ice in front of my house is something that none of my Southern guests will ever send me.
I figured it was a great excuse. I mean,
it was a great. So, dude, first of all, that's crazy, right? I mean, is that something that you see a lot, or because I'm not a nice guy, obviously.
Unfortunately, on the lake I live on, you see it way too often.
Oh.
It's the closest inland lake to Toronto, so it doesn't freeze real solid. And the crazy thing is, like the last 3 days, I've put up a video on social media because right in front of my house, it's up until 24 hours ago, it was still wide open.
Oh.
And I was posting videos because people come from the city to go ice fishing, and an inch of ice forms on that little thing, and then you get snow, and they're like, oh, it's all frozen.
Ugh.
Same everywhere. So the crazy thing is, I've been warning people for 3 days.
I've seen the post. I've seen the post.
And these kids ended up, dude, I felt bad for the kid because thank God they're okay. They're soaked. We get them in the house and, get them all dried off. They were in the ice. It went right through.
Jeez.
So we get them all dried off. Their dad shows up to pick them up, and he's like, as soon as he pulls in the driveway, he sees my truck. And he had no idea where his kids were. His kids just called, gave my address, and said, we went through the ice, come get me. So as soon as he pulls in, so he's coming up the driveway, dude, and I can hear him because we have one of those doorbell things that everybody has, right?
Yeah.
You see who's coming to your door. So I can hear him. He's like, I told that damn boy about, I showed him the post.
It's like, you should listen. The man's show is called Facts of Fishing. He's trying to give you facts on keeping you safe as well.
I don't know a lot, but I do know that you don't float. There's only one dude that's ever been able to float on water.
That's right. That's right.
If he comes in front of my house, he can do whatever he wants.
Exactly right. You won't tell him to go follow you on IG and check out the latest Dave Mercer updates. Well, buddy, how in the world are you other than a crazy, hectic morning?
I'm great. I mean, this is a fun time of year for me. I always kind of a few weeks. It's weird. It's just like when guys compete. It seems like at one point, that feeling where you're like, I got months off. This is great. I mean, I don't even have to think about that for a month. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my goodness, I go back to work in 2 weeks.
Yep.
And nervous, but excited, obviously. You know what I mean? And not really nervous. It's just, that feeling where you're like, I'm excited to get the season going.
Anxious, yeah.
It's a better feeling than last year, I'll tell you that much.
That's and that's something I wanted to talk about, and we can jump right in. But what was that feeling going into last year? Was it a lot of, was it truly a nervous feeling? Because, I talked to you guys a good bit and back and forth, and I know Zona, you guys, obviously you have concerns. You're losing, 3/4 of the field leave. You've got new guys coming in. You got the FLW Tour guys, of course, the Canadian Invasion coming in. And what was that feeling before that first event for you, a guy that makes, part of his living with the Bass organization, and you have really been a part of a lot of those guys, those notable guys, their notable moments. So what's your feeling? Are you nervous?
It was a lot of different feelings. I think it was the same for everybody. The first feeling is, awkwardness and weirdness. The outside of a job, all of those dudes are my friends.
That's right.
They're some of my closest friends. And before they were even friends, I was a fan of theirs. And so there's part of me that, like, as a friend and a fan, as a friend, I'm just really frustrated that, we all signed up and I figured we were going to work in this factory till we retired.
Right.
it's almost like I never planned for this. But there was also the part of you that as a fan, I was pissed because I was like, that's robbed me of so many stories that I've wanted to know the answer to. I want to know, will KVD get 5? Will Aaron ever win one? You know what I mean? Like there was all of those questions that I feel robbed as a fan of those. And I think a lot of the fans of the sport feel that way. So there was all those emotions going on. But as far as like going to work the elite, every one of us, Zona, Tommy, Davey, everybody, Ronnie, Such, everybody, we all talked about it in the off season, and everybody was all in. You know, we're going to roll up our sleeves and we are going to work and we're going to, you know, my whole thing from the start was, I mean, and I'll be honest, I had an option to go there. You know,
right.
I think most of us.
I think everybody did. Yeah, not me, Dave, not me, but most everybody did.
Well, I mean, they probably talk about you a lot more in their office than they talk about me.
Yes, indeed. So you had an option. You had an option to go.
So if you look at it from a marketing standpoint, Luke, I mean, your brand really rose. I mean,
it did indeed. Thanks, Jim.
But the whole reason that all of us, we all came back to the same decision. Zona, everybody. If it wasn't for Bass, if we never got that opportunity at Bass, there wouldn't have been an opportunity to go elsewhere.
That's
so to us, you can't. We couldn't. I just couldn't leave it. You know, there was no. I mean, I remember I said it in a conversation with Kevin, and I love Kevin. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for Kevin and Zona, there's no way I have this job. I mean, Kevin is honestly, my kids call him Uncle Kevin.
Right.
We're that tight. But I remember talking to him the whole way along and during all of it, and I was like, Kevin, I never grew up dreaming to emcee a tournament you fished. Because when my dream started, there was no KVD.
That's right.
You know what I mean? When my dream started, I was watching Dusty Pines.
Yeah.
Fish on a rat in the St. Lawrence River, where nobody would even think of bringing a rat nowadays. How weird that is that it changed. But that was our whole thing. I mean, but we can't leave because my dream didn't change. You know, my dream was always the same. And so going into last season, we definitely all thought we'll roll up our sleeves, we're showing up to work, we're gonna kick ass as much as we can. But there was questions. You know, what do we have to work with? I mean, what are the guys going to be? And I'm going to tell you, week after week, those questions were answered not just for Bassmaster fans, but for us.
Oh, no doubt.
They gave us the stories, you know, whether it was Lee Livesey and his crazy fish catch or, you know, and I think St. John's River, you know, that was stereotypical. That to me said a lot.
It did.
We went into that event and the whole industry, let's be honest, Luke, this time last year, everybody was waiting to see Bass fail.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. Just because, dude, it's like your Kansas City Chiefs. You know, you take away Mahomes, and they're probably not going to win.
Yes.
Or the Titans, I'll give you that. Take away Derrick Henry, blah, blah, blah. Go ahead, Dave.
We'll see how that all
We'll
ends.
get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay. Don't get me excited. I mean, I watched a man beat up another man with his shoulder last night.
I did too.
The world is a crazy place.
I did too. So
let's get back on.
Yeah, let's get back to Bass. Let's get back to Bass and Bassin world here.
So we basically, you know, we all went to work, but I'll say none of it would have mattered if it wasn't the guys we were working with.
I agree.
And I think the one thing that nobody asked any of the fishing fans, and I feel like I can relate with them really well, because when this all ends and they say stop yelling goofy stuff into a mic and I don't do this anymore, I'll still be a fan of the sport. You know, That doesn't change. And I think about it in those terms. somebody halfway through the season actually said that to me. They said to me, what would you do if tomorrow Patrick Mahomes, it was announced that Patrick Mahomes signed a giant deal to go to Europe and play or wherever, and Kelsey left and all these guys left. And I thought about it, and I was like, well, no, I wouldn't follow Patrick Mahomes. I'm a Chiefs fan.
Right.
And that's the thing that I think nobody owns any sport, Luke. Let's be honest. You own it for the time that you're involved in it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, at one time, it felt like Rick Clunn owned the Classic. Yep. There was a time when people went to that Classic and they were like, this is Rick Clunn's tournament. Then there was a time where it seemed like Kevin owned that. Mm-hmm. That's what sports do. They evolve. I mean, at one time, people said there will never be another Michael Jordan. And now everybody argues, who is it?
That's right.
Maybe better than he ever imagined.
That's right.
Sports, that's what makes sports so amazing. And that's what makes events like the Classic so amazing, in my opinion, because it's just a moment in time.
It's a moment. It's a moment. Yes.
And that's all life is, a bunch of moments that eventually become memories. You know what I mean?
That's it, dude. I wrote that in my notes, and I've talked about it on here and talked about it. But sports are about moments because life is about moments. Like you said, they create memories. But, dude, you have been a part of, to the fans, to the anglers, but you've been a part of in your time at Bass some of the most incredible moments our sport will ever see. The Jordan Lee comebacks, so many Classic wins you've called, so many Angler of the Year titles you've called, Elite Series titles. And, dude, your voice, your nicknames you give guys, your storylines that you build up on that stage have assisted those moments and helped them go to the next level, I feel like. And so, that being said, I feel like if Bass went away, we would miss that in the sport. We would miss the moment. That guy crying on stage, his wife coming up on stage, and yeah, we're all watching Bass Track. Yeah, we're watching it go down, and we're saying, man, it looks like Jordan Lee could win this thing. Holy crap. But until those scales settle and Dave Mercer screams unbelievable, it's not official, And I think that's incredible about Bass, and I want to tell you, first of all, just what a hell of a job you do in those moments, man. You bring it to a whole other level, and dude, I can't brag on you enough for that. And I know, I mean, you kill your job, man. You absolutely smash it. So, but these moments are important. They're so important.
First of all, thank you. I mean, that means the world to me. I honestly, my whole take on the job at Bass is I kind of look at it like no different than a James Overstreet. James Overstreet or Sego or any of the great photographers. You know what I mean? Andy Crawford. They try to grab Joel Shangle. I mean, there's a lot of great photographers out there, but they try to take your moment and they try to capture a second of it and make that moment even better or bigger. And honestly, that's really my approach to the Classic. I run around and yell crazy stuff, but it's not my moment. It's their moment, and if I can make that better, for the crowd to react, because the way I've always looked at it is, man, I have so much respect for these guys, for you guys that have hostaged everything. I mean, I go to work. I'm lucky. I fly down there and I emcee an event, and I love every minute of it. But anglers risk so much. The tears when you see them winning. It's not because they won. It's because so many people told them so many times, you're not going to win. Mm-hmm. This isn't going to work for you. And it's all those. So I look at all those moments that happen to an angler, and they all happen in the middle of nowhere on a road all by yourself when you're broken down at 3 a.m. and you're literally in tears thinking, what am I doing? Mm-hmm. My family's at home. I'm out here chasing this ridiculous dream that everybody that really matters to me in my life has told me I can't. So there's so many moments where there's nobody around, and there's so many, non-fan interaction moments. And to me, the only chance that those anglers get to feel that crowd and that fan reaction is at takeoff and at the weigh-in. And if it requires me to run around and yell ridiculous stuff and spit water in the air, well, I watched a lot of wrestling growing up, so that's
me too. I love it, man. And let's be honest, okay? This is something that I have said multiple times. Weigh-ins for your casual fan, they can be boring if you don't have a Dave Mercer. Truly. I mean, we're putting fish on a scale, 7 pounds, 3 ounces. Thank you for coming. I mean, you go to a local weigh-in, shout out to my local guys down here on the Tennessee River doing it to it. But you know what I'm saying, man. You got to bring that energy level. You got an arena full of freaking people there to watch guys put little bass in a bag and put them on the scales, So, dude, you've just you really elevate. And look, there have been bass, of course, Ray Scott was the dude, Ray was the guy.
The greatest ever.
The greatest ever, man. He was the guy. And he was, what about an A team? What about a B team? Man, I'll never forget going to my first classic and he's up there and he's got the tassels going and swinging the cowboy hat. And you're just like, this is the guy, man. This is the guy from TNN right here. This is him. And, I was fortunate to get to know Ray a little bit in life in the early 2000s through a kind of a weird circumstance in life, but that happened. And I'll tell that story on Low Budget Live one day. But I actually got to know I got to know Ray and Bob Cobb a little bit as a 19-year-old man, and it was an incredible time. But Fish Fishburne, man. Fish did a great job. Fish was just a goofball like you and I. Utilize humor, but he did a great job. But dude, I'm telling you, it went to another level with you, and I do think that a lot of it comes from your sincere love and respect for these guys. And Chris Jones at FLW, same way, man, same way. He loves the sport. He loves the anglers. He respects the determination, hard work that they put in, the sacrifice. So I think that's what makes you so great. But there was something I was reading about you last night, and here's the thing: I'm a huge Dave Mercer fan. I'm a huge Facts of Fishing fan, but I try to do some digging just for my own knowledge when I'm talking to a guy like this in this format. But you started tournament fishing at an early age. I was reading, but there was a quote from you in this article I read that you learned pretty early on that competing wasn't really what you wanted to do. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Totally. I mean, I think about it all the time, and it's amazing the way. I know you're a country music guy, but on this song, Garth Brooks, "The dream is like a river, ever changing as it flows." And man, I think that is one of the truest quotes out there. And when I was a little kid, I grew up watching the Bassmasters. I mean, I was that weird. I mean, we were all that weird kids.
No doubt.
Have in common. I mean, I had a picture of Hank Parker winning the Classic in my locker in high school. I was a weirdo.
That's awesome.
That's
awesome.
But that's what I think that it makes the Classic and events like that so special, because all us weirdos, we all get together and all of a sudden that thing that you liked, that you've had to explain to every girl you ever met. What do you mean you tournament fish?
Yes. What is that?
What do you mean? That we all feel at home. But yeah, that was my dream initially. I started fishing tournaments when I was, 13 years old, and I was lucky at the time to do okay. And because I was young and stood out at the time, I got a little bit of attention, and really that's all I did going through school. All I did was fish tournaments and throughout Canada and the northern United States. But it wasn't long until I realized that, man, this life is tough. Like I love fishing, but I don't love being a trucker. I don't love everything. And all of a sudden I realized I might not be the best angler in the universe. There's other people that are much better than me. But so even in my early 20s, that's when I kind of pulled away from tournaments and started focusing on doing more TV stuff. And through that, I emceed some charity events. I guess that's how it started. And the two things, Luke, that I've always kind of loved to do is fish and talk.
Yep, same here.
It's really all I've ever been good at. My whole life, everybody's always told me not everything I do to make a living, Luke, you're probably very similar, is everything every teacher wrote on my report card to stop doing.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. I had a marketing teacher my junior year of high school. We had a marketing class, and she said, a professional fisherman? Okay, well, I think you need to focus on maybe doing something else because that's not a real thing. And I see her all the time, and I'm like, hey, I made it work somehow. In some way, shape, or form, I made a living in that industry, because you did. You get turned down, man. You get turned down.
I think that's the key to success in anything. And not that I've achieved the super pinnacle of success or anything, but I think if you love something enough, like when people say to you, can you make a living? Yes, you can. Is it, as long as you love it. You know what I mean?
Gotta love
I remember. My parents were dreamers. I was real lucky, I was born in Ireland. We moved to Canada when I was 5. They moved to another country to give us a better opportunity. And man, I watched people weigh and fish for a living and announce it. So obviously that worked out. That opportunity isn't available in Belfast.
No doubt. I didn't know that about you. That's very cool.
Is follow your dreams. And man, my dad used to say, I don't care what you do, son. If you love something enough and you're willing to work harder than anybody at it, you can make a living. And he'd say, I don't care if your love is to sweep the floors. But if you're the best at sweeping the floors, everybody needs that guy. And if you love it, you're easy to work with, and you'll find success in it. And thankfully, I didn't have to revert to sweeping floors yet.
Yeah, I'm still on the... my wife's under the impression that I don't know how to sweep. I try to play dumb. I'm like, what is this? What is this witchcraft you're handing me here? What is this? I don't know what this does. She's like, well, you clean the floor. No, I don't know anything about that, honey. We're going to have to call somebody else. Well, dude, I think you hit it on the head with hard work. Like, a lot of people think that these are dream jobs, and they are, but man, they come with a lot of sacrifice. Even the job you have, with just the Bassmaster, dude, you're traveling in and out, you're delayed in airports, you're away from your precious family, and there are a lot of things that go on there. But anything that's meant to be a dream job, I fully believe comes with a lot more sacrifice than a normal 9 to 5. At times. Okay, does it have benefits that a normal 9 to 5 doesn't? Yeah, of course. We're in this amazing, cool industry, but anything that's meant to be a dream, you're gonna have to work a little harder at. And it's not, and sometimes people, you get a hold of a dream and you're like, that's not exactly what I thought it was going to be. I mean, that was kind of my year this year. All I ever want to do is be on the FLW Tour or the Elite Series. I grew up watching both, obviously, and when I finally got that chance, it was all I could ask for. I was loving it, and then with all the changes, man, that like you said, no Forest Wood Cup, that's not my dream. That's not my dream. My dream is to try to be in those championships. And I got to fish one of those as a co-angler, but I never got to fish one as a pro. And then it was gone, and so that kind of changed my path, but I'm still in love with fishing, and I'm still in love with the fun of fishing and spreading the word about fishing. And like you said, running my mouth a little bit. But that's something about you, Dave, that I think that people are drawn to you about. But and I try to preach this on my YouTube channel especially, but fishing is fun, man. And tournaments can take that away sometimes, right?
And that was a big part of me realizing that I wasn't a tournament angler. You know what I mean? I don't have... There's a competitive side. I'll be honest, some of the stuff that I am most ashamed of, some of the behaviors I've done in my life happened when I was in a bass tournament. Be honest, I'm totally honest, wow. Dude, that you look at me and I'm jovial, jokey, dude. I have cursed people for generations after them. just because they were on a dock that I thought had a 4-pounder on it.
Yep.
But I do think that's a part of the chromosome you need to be a successful tournament angler. I mean, I learned that, I think, in season 1 on the Elite Series. And, KVD won Angler of the Year that year. And I remember I was covering him. And so striking. It was so different than what I used to do as a tournament angler. I watched him compete, and that was rookie season on the Elite Series. So day 1, KVD, I think we were on Wheeler Lake. I believe we're on Wheeler, but day 1, KVD's fishing this water outflow, right? He
Yeah, I
catches
remember
the
that.
limit
Yeah.
and then goes out a little deeper or whatever. Well, so day 2 comes along, and I covered him day 1, and Kevin says, "Hey, you rolling with me on day 2?" I said, "Yep, as soon as takeoff's done, we're covering you." So me and Overstreet go to chase him, and we get behind him, and we know where he's going. He's going to that water spillway. So he goes to that water spillway, and who's there? Ott Defoe. Well, I mean, Ott's a rookie. KVD's got Angler of the Year on the line. He's in a position where he could be like, "Get the hell out of here, Ott." You know, he could definitely bully him around. He didn't even hardly come off a pad. He waved at Ott. He went to spot B. And he looked over at us, and he goes, "Spot B." So we follow him to spot B. Well, he gets to spot B, and there's 3 boats on spot B. Now, 3 boats, and now he's got Angler of the Year on the line. He's going to the second spot. You think he's going to start screaming at somebody or saying, "Give me some space" or something. He doesn't. He goes to the 3rd spot, doesn't even check him, goes to the 3rd spot. On the dock, he said, "Well, get with me quick, because I'm going to catch 17 pounds and seal the deal on this real early." Went to spot 1, couldn't fish. Went to spot 2, couldn't fish. Went to spot 3, caught 17 pounds, won Angler of the Year, and never yelled at anybody. And I turned over Street. I'm like, man, I would have already screamed. I'd be done. It'd be over by the time I got to the 2nd spot.
You would have ran dam to dam looking for somewhere to get. It's completely. That's me, man. I would have been like, "Ott Defoe, I hate Ott Defoe." Unreal.
It takes, but I think that's also part of maturity. You also have to be man enough to know where your areas of that you can do well in and the areas that you can't. I mean, I feel comfortable with a mic in my hand, but if you said, "Hey, you get a preliminary spot to compete in the Elite Series," I wouldn't feel near as comfortable.
I understand completely, man. Well, let's talk about this Canadian invasion that you guys had last year a little bit, because I competed against those guys, and I call those guys friends. I really, obviously, I respect all 3 of those guys immensely. And we're talking about Gussie, Jeff Gustafson, Chris and Corey Johnston, and those boys don't play around. But will we see a win from one of those 3 this year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I've been on record already for Bass. I don't know if they printed it yet, but I've put pressure on them. I've predicted between the Classics and the Elite Series, we will see not a win, but 2 wins. I don't know what the combination is. I don't know if one guy wins 2 of them, if Gussie wins 1 and then Johnson. I don't know what the combination is, but 2 trophies, I say, going north of the border.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that because, they're feeling their way around the Elite Series last year. They all had incredible years, but I think that you get a year under the belt. They know the deal now. They were new. They were the new guys. Now, they're basically veterans. They're coming back after the year, and I wouldn't doubt that at all, man. Are you excited to have your buddy back on stage, Mr. Swindle?
Of course. I mean, I call him Water Break.
That's right. That's right.
You call him G, you call him whatever you want. I call him Water Break because when he comes up, I just take a break. Hand him the mic and let him go.
That's it. I know he's looking forward to it, man. I'm very proud for him and BP that they're coming back, and I think having them back just is going to make that field, which I learned so much about, because I'm like you last year, and I talked about it on here a lot in the spring. I didn't know a lot of those guys, man. Of course, Johnny Cruz and Drew Benton and Steve King, those guys are my dudes. I go way back with all those guys, John Cruz and I roomed together in the Opens when I was freaking 19 years old, man. I've known John a long time. He actually made the Elites, the then Bassmaster Tour, the first year I roomed with him. He and I, but so these guys that are Seth Fighter, Chris Crow, I know of these guys, but some of the new ones, the Lee Livacies and Garrett Paquettes and Patrick Walters, even I knew about him from his famed college career, but I didn't know a lot about Patrick. But so last year, you guys turned them and their angling skills turned them into household names for me. So with the addition of Brandon and Gerald to that, plus the FLW guys, who, by the way, caught the crap out of them last year. It's like all of them had something to prove. It's going to be 2020, man. Between that and the schedule, I think it's just going to be silly.
I think, the schedule is insane. It really is. I mean, even Orange, Orange stands out as but if you watch the last time we were at Orange, guys aren't having to run 100 miles away,
No.
It's got one pretty close, and that crowd is incredible, and that community's been through so much. I can't wait to get back there. I mean, they really are awesome. But here's what I'm going to say. I'm excited to have Brandon back. I'm excited to have G back. But I'm just excited to see them compete where they want to compete.
Right.
I think that the biggest thing that people missed, and I'm sure you were no different. You spent late nights talking to tons of people when they were breaking their heart over making a decision of what to do. And I think one of the biggest problems people made, and I told everyone I talked to, I said, make the decision that's best for you.
Mm-hmm.
Your value as a pro angler is always your value as of that moment. You know what I mean?
That's right.
If you look at, and if you keep catching them, if you think you're going to keep catching them better, if you think you're going to do better over here, you should be here. If you think you're going to do better over there, you should be over there. I mean, that's what really needs to get settled out. I think guys got to end up where they're happy and move on, because as a fan of the sport, the last thing, nobody cares about this crap. They just want to hear about fishing. You
That's
know what
right.
I mean?
I want to get back to it. Yep.
It's very dangerous ground. It keeps going. Everything is always about that. And people turn off. I mean, look what happened with sports like baseball. Baseball has never, ever recovered. And that is my own fear.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I've lended a hand to some of the controversial stuff and some of the divide. I know, and I get accused of that a lot. But dude, I'm a fan of the sport, and I'm like you. Like before you came on, I had Bryan, the winner of the first Bassmaster Open, on to talk, and I'm excited just to get to talk about some fishing, for the love of God. We're headed back into some tournaments, and the Elite Series starts up in 2 weeks. We got an Elite Series. There's an FLW event this week at Rayburn. So I hope that the crap can kind of die down now. But I too, at the same time, I'm afraid that until those guys, being Bass Pro Tour, Major League Fishing, kind of get their feet under them in some way where they're comfortable in their own skin with what they're doing, I feel like we'll always have this back and forth, because they're going to change some things, and there are going to be some guys. Do you see in your mind, like this year, we've seen this mass exodus from FLW of big names in the Opens. You got Scotty Too Hottie, you got Scott Martin in the Opens, you got Brian Latimer and Andrew Upshaw and Todd Castledine, Bradley Holm, and, just these freaking hammers. Dude, that elite field's going to get tougher and tougher and tougher again next year. And with that, do you think we'll see some more BPT guys come back next year? Because there's some fishing the Opens, I noticed. Do you think we'll see some guys find their way back to bass? Just your opinion?
Think it's inevitable.
Yeah,
I think it's inevitable. I mean, I know it's inevitable.
Yeah, I think so.
It's not my place to speak, but there's people, and hey, let's be honest, down the road, who knows? I mean, maybe some of our guys will end up heading over there too.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Nobody knows.
I mean, nobody knows. But what I do know is I'm fine with the field the way we have.
No doubt.
It's just only going to get stronger.
Oh, it is.
and it's. One story I did want to hit on, though, I had one thing I wanted to tell you, because one thing I keep hearing from people is that this year's Classic, the odd person you'll see chime in and be like, well, last year was the last great Classic.
Whatever.
It is funny, because I had a conversation with a guy at the Classic last year, and he was the only one. I mean, so many people came up, and I've been amazed at how many people come up and just say, I love watching these young guys, these new guys. But that's human nature. You do love the new, why are people excited to see the Chiefs and the Titans? Because it's not the freaking Patriots.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right. Amen to that.
It's human nature. But just tell you this quick story. So a guy came up to me last year at Takeoff. There's 6,000 people there. It's just insane. And a guy goes, yeah, it's too bad this is going to be the last great Classic. And I said, really? I said, well, why do you say that? And he said, well, all the big guys are leaving. And I said, oh, okay. I said, well, let me ask you a question. I learned long ago it's always good to answer a question with a question. So I said, let me ask you a question. Name your 3 favorite classics ever. And I believe his 3 were, he had KVD in Louisiana when he had, Giants final day and, won by 10 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And he mentioned Edwin Evers' win, when he had made the big comeback on the final day. And I said, yeah, those are great. And he said the third, he said, I couldn't name the great classics without saying Bryan Kershaw. And when he said that, I smiled from ear to ear.
He said, I got you.
Because I said, okay, let's go back to your original thing about this being the last great classic. I said, do you know the year before Bryan Kershaw won the classic, he fished the classic, but he finished absolutely last.
Yep.
I said, there wasn't a soul in bass fishing outside of Connecticut that knew who Bryan Kershaw was at all. And by Sunday of that tournament, on day one of that tournament, nobody knew him. And by Sunday of that tournament, Bryan Kershaw became a legend in this sport. Mm-hmm. And obviously, what happened with him, obviously grew that legend and everything. But Overstreet said it best, man. I take pictures of the dudes that hold these trophies, and those dudes are heroes in our sport.
No doubt.
And not to take anything away from any other trophy, but man, it's bass is bass. I mean, you grow up, I'm assuming, wanting to win the Daytona 500. You want to win the Indianapolis 500 if you're in the kart world.
Yeah.
You want to. It's a classic, man.
It's a classic,
and there's only one.
I've said it many times on here. I don't care who's in it. I don't care what their names are, what their jerseys say. On Sunday in Birmingham, Alabama, in front of an arena full of people, which is inevitable, you will scream until you're hoarse, and somebody will hoist a classic trophy, and it will be another great moment in our sport. Period. Because it's the classic, and you can't take that away. I don't care who's in it. It's the classic. It's the freaking Bassmaster. It's the Catalina wine mixer. It's the freaking classic, man.
There's only one classic.
There's only one, man.
And that's, dude, when you really get to it, I mean, you were real nice earlier, gave me a bunch of compliments about what I do for a living. Everybody talks about the great job Zona does, and everybody does, and they really do. I mean, I work with the most strongest badasses out there, and I couldn't be prouder to be part of that team. But when you're really honest, none of these people came here for the magazine. None of these people are here because of Mark Zona, Dave Mercer, Davey Height, or anybody. They're here for one thing, and it's that trophy. Mm-hmm. That's what drives people. And I think it always will, And I hope that we get some answers to some of the things down the road. I hate that people are put in that position, but I just wish everybody luck, moving forward,
No doubt.
It's a great, dude. How badass is it as a time for the industry? You talked about the negatives that you get pointed at, but we need a guy like you to, you know what I mean? Our sport, every sport has that impartial voice that is seeing it and being honest, and I love it. And when me and you set up this interview, we talked about, I said you would talk to me about anything, and
I appreciate that.
The only people that need to worry about set questions and stuff like that is people that want to hide a story. I'll just keep telling you the truth until it gets me in trouble.
That's kind of been my issue this fall. Is I just tell the truth until the truth sets me right into a trap.
I appreciate it.
I appreciate that.
We all screw up over a bass, and it's good to have a guy like you in the industry to be like, yeah, I really screwed up. I'm sorry, guys, but I didn't go Luke Duncan on that.
I'm glad I can be the new benchmark. Hey, I'll tell you a good one, man. I want to say this about Chase Anderson. I don't know Chase at all. Owner of Bass, and a friend of mine this week in the industry, actually a sponsor of mine, has developed a relationship with Chase, and he was going back and forth with him about Low Budget Live, and Chase listens to Low Budget Live some, and he said that my buddy said, well, man, I can't wait for you guys to screw up and Luke jump on y'all and see if your opinion of him changes, like one of those things. He goes, no. He said Chase's response was, I hope we screw up and I hope he nails us so we can get better. Dude, I thought that was a beautiful statement. So, Chase, if you're listening, I got you, dude. I got you. All you got to do is make a mistake. I try not to be biased, man. I'm obviously a Bassmaster fan, but I was also an FLW fan. And look, I'm a fan of a lot of the guys over at MLF. Everybody knows that. I've got good friends there. I'm a fan of the sport of bass fishing. But I'm a fan of what's right and and I try to know the difference in what I believe to be right and wrong and things. And I hope we all get to a better place with all of it, I want to talk to you about one more thing, and this is the most important thing we're going to talk about. You are, for some reason, and I've always wanted to ask you this question, a Kansas City Chiefs fan. So I need some clarification from you on this, sir.
Oh, all right. Well, first of all, it's damn good to be a Kansas City Chiefs fan this year. I mean, my whole life I've had to explain to people why I'm a Chiefs fan because there hasn't been a lot of reasons to be a Chiefs fan, but really it just goes back to how most people get into football. I mean, you generally cheer for the team that's local to you or your favorite player or the team that happens to be winning at the time. And when I got into football, the 49ers were amazing and Joe Montana was the quarterback. So I was kind of a Niners-Montana fan, but more a Montana fan, and I followed him to Kansas City, and I haven't left. And the funny story is I was lucky enough to meet Joe Montana like 5 or 6 years ago at a function in Vegas, and all these people are walking up to him, and his handlers are around him, and they're all like, Mr. Montana, thank you for the memories. Thank you for the memories. He gets to me, and I'm like, you give me a lot of bad memories. and his handler's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And Joe's like, what do you mean? I said, well, I started cheering for you, and then you went to Chiefs. I followed you Chiefs, and I've never left. And he said, oh, you should have left and never looked back. But
that's amazing.
Hopefully this week's battle goes right, and we'll see if I made the right decision when I was a little kid. Maybe the Chiefs will play the Niners in the finals, but I know you don't.
I don't want that. Being a Tennessee Titans fan. So Dave and I have been texting this week, and today you guys will hear this on January 20th when I upload, but it's January 19th. It's the day of the AFC and NFC Championship game, but Chiefs versus the Titans. So I read a thing, and I'm just going to throw this out there. You've been called the Bill Dance of Canada. I've seen it. Bill Dance, notable Tennessee guy. If Tennessee wins, can I get a picture of Dave Mercer in a Titans hat? Can this happen?
Yeah.
For a social media post.
I mean, I think we should do something more than that.
Okay. Oh gosh, put me on the spot on LBL. Now this is low budget.
I mean, social media, nobody's going to share a picture. Let's be honest, we're only doing this to get likes. It's all about the likes.
That's it. It's about the likes and the views.
Nobody's going to share a picture of me with a Tennessee Titans hat or you with a Chiefs hat. How about we go further? How about, I believe me and you were much further ahead in the beard world than me many years before me. But me and you may have two of the greatest beards in bass fishing
ever.
I'm willing to, if your Tennessee Titans win, which they will not, but if they did in some polar universe, I mean, they're not going to win, but they weren't supposed to beat the Patriots or the Ravens either. But if they win, I will dye my beard blue. And you, my friend, if the Chiefs win, I need you to dye your beard red.
Got it. We can do this. Right here, a virtual handshake, red beard. We will do it. A blue beard and a red beard. I'm with it. I'm with this.
I don't even know how to do it.
I don't know how to do it, but I'll figure it out. I've got an 18-year-old daughter. I'll figure it out, and a wife that dyes her hair some. Sorry, honey. I will figure it out. Red beard.
I'm excited.
I'm excited, buddy.
About it.
I'm excited
to see
Come
you with your red
on,
beard.
Derrick Henry. Come on, Henry. That's all I can say.
I've always thought you'd make a great ginger.
Ginger. All right, it's on. Okay, so I I like it. I'm gonna whenever we get off here and I settle the podcast down here to get ready to upload for tomorrow. I'm gonna go to social. I'm going to Instagram with this today. So before kickoff, we've got a couple hours here. So I want everybody to know what's going to happen. So all right, you heard it here, Low Budget Live. All right, how long do you have to wear the red beard? That's the thing. How long?
Well, I'm talking a temporary dye.
Yes, a temporary dye. Temporary dye. Yes. You got work in a couple weeks. I got work. I'm all in though. It will happen.
All right.
It will happen.
All right, and I need it verified. I don't just want a picture. Like I need actual video.
Oh no, this. You know me.
I'm with photography now. Baby.
Yes, I video everything. So some things I definitely shouldn't video, but I video a lot of things, and I will video this for you. It will be videoed for social media.
Go Chiefs.
Go Titans. Dave Mercer, thank you so much, man. This was the pleasure was all mine. This was a great time, and I really appreciate you taking time out of your crazy, chaotic day up there in old Canada. And, dude, I wish you the best of luck this year. I know it's going to be a great season, and I can't wait to see you in Birmingham.
I'm looking forward to it. And, Luke, congrats on everything.
Thanks, buddy.
Doing what you're doing, dude. Bob, just like your parents, grade school teacher told you, as long as you're telling the truth, it'll all work out fine. And that's all you've been doing. And that's not a slight on anybody. I know somebody's going to be like, oh, he just said, dude, tell what you feel, and they tell what they feel, and we're all good. And let's just go freaking fishing and have a good time. Let's
do it. Let's get back. Fishing is fun. Y'all, if you're, obviously you're following Dave if you're here, but make sure you're following along on everything he's doing. If you're not, outside of the Bassmasters, Dave does a killer job in our sport in educating people on how much fun fishing is. And, dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. I hope that Derrick Henry rushes for 130 yards and finishes a close second to the great Kansas City Chiefs, baby!
Not happening. I'm cutting you off there, Mercer. Go Titans.
Pray to St. Patrick.
Go, buddy. See you, buddy.
Bye.
Dave Mercer, everybody. What is that? Screaming, go freaking Chiefs. You're going to hear this tomorrow, and you'll know the outcome when this uploads. But Red Beard, I made a bet with Dave Mercer. Thank y'all so much for listening. I know this podcast ran long. We had some technical difficulties, like always. But thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for everything. Upload a new video this week. If you haven't seen it, on Friday, me and Stupid Darian fishing on Gunnersville. Good time. Some January schooling fish. Go check that out for me. If you haven't seen that, I really appreciate it. Go watch it. Boats and Pros coming up the last week of the month. A lot of good stuff coming. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not. And I am really looking forward to this football game today. I'm really looking forward to Dave Mercer dyeing his beard. But thank y'all so much for everything. Thanks for listening. Happy birthday, Charlie. Ladies and gentlemen, Low Budget Live is over for the week, and we will see you next week. Here's a little Low Budget Live outro with some Biloxi Blues. Thank y'all.
From Jackson Town to Tupelo, I never could make it last. Spanish moss, a Civil War ghost, well, I'm gonna leave them in the past. Any direction, Lord, I'll be fine. It don't matter east or west. North, south, wherever the wind blows, I'm leaving those burdens at rest. This highway, it does not know my name, and I don't care, no, I don't care.